The tractor screamed like a dying animal as it lurched to a violent stop, nearly throwing me face first into the steering wheel. 1 second, I was cruising down the north row of my field, humming to myself and sipping lukewarm coffee from my chipped thermos, and the next I was choking on dust, cursing at the sky, and staring at a mangled mess of orange fiber optic cable wrapped around my undercarriage like some demon spaghetti. I jumped down, heart racing, and stared at it. I hadn't buried anything here. No utility flags, no notices, no signs. Just good old dirt. Until today, my mind raced between anger and confusion. Who the hell put fiber optic cables in my field without telling me? I tried yanking the cable free, but it wouldn't budge. It was buried deep, professionally buried. That's when I saw the tiny plastic tag hanging from it, marked with a serial number and a corporate logo I didn't recognize. I followed the cable with my eyes as it snaked through my field like a neon orange snake on a mission. That mission, apparently, was to ruin my morning, my equipment, and possibly my sanity. I whipped out my phone and started scrolling through county notices, permits, anything that would justify someone digging through my property. Nada. Not a single alert. No email, no letter, nothing taped to my door. Still fuming, I jogged up to my barn office and pulled the footage from my security cameras, which I'd installed last year after someone tried to steal my chicken coop. And there it was, 2 unmarked white trucks pulling up at the break of dawn 3 days ago. Guys in reflective vests jumping out like Navy SEALs on a caffeine bender. They didn't knock. They didn't hesitate. They just started digging, clean, fast, like they knew they weren't supposed to be there. Of course, I did what any sane landowner would do in 2025. I called my buddy Hank. Hank's the kind of guy who keeps a bug-out bag in his truck and swears birds are government surveillance drones. But sometimes he's weirdly useful. He came over with a flashlight, a folding chair, and a bag of beef jerky. Sat beside the cable with me, like we were waiting for it to confess something. "Bet it's the NSA," he said, chewing thoughtfully. "Or the HOA. Honestly, I trust the government more than I trust the HOA." I laughed until he said that. Then I stopped. The HOA, our local homeowners association, had gotten bolder over the years. They'd started managing more than they should: easements, trash collection, even the neighborhood Wi-Fi contract. It had been creeping closer and closer to my property line like a bad rash. I didn't live under HOA rules. I was outside their jurisdiction. But they never liked that I was the one unregulated patch of freedom they couldn't control. Could it really be them? As if summoned by my irritation, Veronica, the HOA president in all her clipboard-wielding glory, rolled up in a black SUV like she was on a diplomatic mission. She stepped out with that practiced smile that didn't reach her eyes, the kind that said, "I'm about to ruin your life, but I'm going to pretend we're friends." "Oh good, you found the installation," she chirped. "What installation?" I growled. "You mean the one that wrecked my tractor and is trespassing across my land?" "Well, technically it's a community project," she said, flipping through her notes. "We voted to expand high-speed internet. It's for the greater good." "You voted?" "Veronica, this is my field. I own this land. You don't get to vote on my property." She waved her hand like I was being dramatic. "You weren't using it. It's a field, not a spare bedroom. It's not up for grabs just because it has open space." Veronica's eyes narrowed. "Let's be reasonable. You're the only property the line could pass through to reach the main road. We assumed you'd be fine with it. It's not like we built a house on it." "I'm about to build a lawsuit on it," I snapped. She smirked. "If you want to get legal, you'll find this was all done above board." But I knew a bluff when I heard one. That night, I stayed up with my cousin Dana, a part-time land use attorney who treats zoning laws like sport. She scoured the filings and grinned like a wolf. No permit, no right-of-way, no agreement. They went rogue. It got better. The HOA hadn't just laid cable through my property. They'd partnered with a local ISP and leased access rights to them, as if they owned the land. They were getting paid a monthly fee, profiting from my field, and hadn't given me a single cent. They had illegally sold access to property they didn't own. I stared at the documents in disbelief. They didn't just lay cable. They turned my land into a revenue stream and figured I wouldn't notice. Veronica and her board had crossed a line so bold, so blatantly stupid, I couldn't decide whether to scream or laugh. Instead, I smiled. If they thought laying cable was a power move, they were about to learn what real power looked like. They gave me a fiber optic line? Fine. I'd take control of it. Then I'd lease it to their biggest competitor. This wasn't war yet, but it was about to be. This wasn't war yet, but it was about to be. The next morning, I walked out to the field with a new attitude and a thermos full of fresh coffee. This time stronger, darker, and ready for battle. The orange cable lay beneath the dirt like a vein of arrogance. And now that I knew what it was worth, I didn't see a nuisance. I saw leverage. Real, legal, juicy leverage. And Veronica? She had absolutely no idea the kind of game she'd just started. Most people see a field and think, empty land. I saw a chessboard, and I was about to move my queen. Dana worked fast. By sunrise, she had the county's utilities office on the line, confirming what we already suspected. No permit, no permission, no survey. The HOA had skipped every legal step and relied on good old-fashioned entitlement. But the kicker? Since no easement was recorded and no compensation was given, the line was technically an unauthorized utility encroachment, which meant I had every right to either remove it or monetize it. I sent Veronica a polite, carefully worded email, said I was open to working together and resolving the misunderstanding peacefully. I offered to hear her side before escalating things. That was bait. She swallowed it faster than a HOA board member at an open bar. Replied within the hour, practically congratulating herself for convincing me. She even attached an email thread with the ISP detailing their deal. According to her, I was a reasonable landowner who understood the needs of the greater community. Oh, I understood, all right. I understood she'd just handed me a full confession and a paper trail. While Dana drafted a cease and desist letter, I got to work. Literally, I bought a dozen bright yellow flags and marked every spot where their cable ran through my land. Then I hammered in wooden signs. Private property, unauthorized utility use will be prosecuted. Some signs had QR codes that linked to a post I'd made detailing the incident, complete with photos, security footage, and a side-by-side of Veronica smiling at the installation like she was planting a community garden instead of committing real estate fraud. That afternoon, my phone buzzed. It was a number I hadn't seen in years. Logan, my old neighbor from down the ridge. We used to ride dirt bikes together as kids. Turns out, Logan had moved back recently to launch his own fiber company, Clearwave Connect. He'd been trying to expand into our area for months, but the HOA's exclusive deal with their ISP had blocked every path in. I've been trying to get a foot in that neighborhood for over a year, he laughed, and you just bulldozed a back door with your tractor. I explained the situation and asked a simple question. If I gave you legal access through my land, could you hook up the entire neighborhood with faster speeds and lower prices? His response was instant. Hell yes. Just like that, we had a deal. Dana drew up the paperwork. Logan's crew would run parallel fiber on my property, legally this time, and I'd lease the land to them at a fair rate. They'd install a junction box at the edge of my field to serve the entire HOA-governed neighborhood. Not only that, but they'd undercut the HOA's ISP by offering triple the speed at half the price. No contracts, no throttling, no HOA markup. I called it Operation Steal the Signal, and it was already my favorite side project of all time. Meanwhile, Veronica was beginning to sweat. I could tell because her next email was noticeably less smug. She requested a formal sit-down to discuss mutual benefits. Translation: the board realized how badly they'd screwed up and wanted to patch things up before the residents caught wind of the scheme. Too late. Logan and I launched a flyer campaign. Bright blue mailers hit every door in the neighborhood with bold letters. Better internet. No HOA markups. Coming soon. Some neighbors even called to thank me. One said he'd been paying $120 a month for spotty service and had no idea the HOA was taking a cut. I started receiving passive-aggressive notes taped to my mailbox. One read, "Your actions affect the whole community." Another just said, "Traitor, written in red marker. I wasn't sure if that one was from Veronica or Hank trying to mess with me. Either way, it only made me double down.